September 2020 did not arrive quietly. India was months into the pandemic, lockdown fatigue had set in, courts were slow, campuses were closed, streets empty of protest. But television was louder than ever. Every night, the same images, studio lights, angry panels, endless questions about a dead actor. The Sushant Singh Rajput case had taken over the national imagination. What began as grief had turned into spectacle. Agencies followed agencies, CBI, ED, NCB. Leaks became primetime evidence. Debates ran for hours, days, weeks. Television found its perfect story, emotional, dramatic, and reproducible. And then quietly, on September 13th, Umar Khalid was arrested. No breaking news frenzy, no countdown graphics, no nightly outrage. He was picked up under the UAPA, accused not of an act but of a conspiracy, one spread across files, speeches, and associations. While the country argued over WhatsApp chats from Bollywood, a student activist entered a prison cell. Just days earlier, Sushant's girlfriend Riya had been arrested. Cameras followed her every step. Her face was everywhere. The story thickened, viewership soared. Meanwhile, Khalid's arrest slipped into the margins. This is not about secret plans or scripted distractions. It did not need to be. Television has its own logic. It follows noise, not consequence. Emotion, not evidence. Spectacle, not procedure. One story was loud, visual, and consumable. The other was slow, legal, and uncomfortable. So attention flowed in one direction. September moved on, the debates continued, the arrests under UAPA accumulated, the courts promised patience, the country watched television. Time began stretching, unnamed, untelevised, unseen. And this is how it happened, not with censorship, not with silence, but with noise. 5 years. That is how long Umar Khalid has been inside a prison cell. Not after a conviction, not after a verdict, but before a trial has even begun. Time has passed in an almost unnatural way. Slow, unmoving. Courts have convened, files have grown, hearings have been scheduled and postponed. Bail has been denied again and again. Yet the essential moment, the trial itself, never arrives. Justice is always just ahead, always deferred, always out of reach. This is what a trial looks like when it forgets its purpose. Franz Kafka once imagined a man who wakes up one morning already accused. He is not told of his crime, is dragged across government corridors. Officials speak but explain nothing. The law exists everywhere, yet nowhere clearly. The verdict is permanently postponed. Kafka called this world the trial. Umar Khalid is living inside that world. Here, the law does not strike suddenly. It lingers, it surrounds, it exhausts. It does not need to prove guilt. It only needs to endure. Thousands of pages of documents, hundreds of witnesses, years of incarceration. Yet no beginning, no end. The process itself becomes the sentence. This is not delay as accident. This is delay as method. Kafka understood something essential about modern power, that it does not always appear as force. Often, it appears as procedure, endless procedure. Power that hides inside files, adjournments, and rituals. Power that speaks in the language of neutrality while slowly draining a life of momentum. Umar Khalid is charged but never judged, confined but never concluded. Michel Foucault described this as discipline. Years pass, youth passes, certainty passes. What remains is suspension. But this case is not only about procedure, it is about meaning. Slavoj Žižek reminds us that ideology does not merely lie to us. It organizes reality itself. It decides who appears dangerous, who appears legitimate, who must be feared. In Modi's India, the figure of the Muslim dissenter occupies a special place in this symbolic order. He's never just an individual, he's a sign. Khalid becomes that sign. Not merely an accused person, but a narrative of conspiracy, of threat, of internal enemy. His continued imprisonment performs something crucial for the state. It reassures, it signals vigilance, it tells a story in which authority is necessary and dissent suspect. The law here is not only enforced, it is performed. Arundhati Roy has warned that this is how democracies hollow themselves out, not by banning dissent, but by slowly reclassifying it. Protest becomes extremism, thought becomes conspiracy. The language of terror expands until it swallows speech itself. Khalid is not accused of pulling a trigger, he is accused of speaking, of associating, of imagining otherwise. Legally, the case reveals a deeper fracture. There is no money trail, no weapons, no direct evidence of violence. What exists instead are speeches, WhatsApp groups, and protected witnesses. Meanwhile, Supreme Court judgments have repeatedly held that extended pre-trial detention violates the right to life and liberty, even under UAPA. And yet, in this case, time itself is dismissed as irrelevant. 5 years are treated as procedural noise. The presumption of innocence quietly dissolves. Bail, once a safeguard, becomes unreachable. The law continues to move, but never toward resolution. Like Kafka's corridors, it loops back into itself. This is what it means for the law to lose its moral center. Justice is not only about outcomes, it is about direction. A system that cannot decide still decides against the person waiting. A trial endlessly postponed is not neutral, it is punitive. It teaches society a lesson that freedom is conditional and dissent is costly. Yet, something remains unfinished. Despite confinement, Khalid continues to exist intellectually. Like Kafka's Joseph K., he does not fully submit, even when surrounded. His struggle is not only legal, it is existential, a refusal to let the system define the entirety of his being. This case, then, is larger than one man. It asks what kind of democracy survives when procedure replaces justice, when time becomes a weapon, when the law no longer protects speech but disciplines it, when trials happen not in courtrooms but in the theatre of power. The question is no longer whether Umar Khalid will receive justice. The question is whether justice itself still knows how to arrive. Because when verdicts are endlessly postponed, conscience becomes the last place where judgment can still occur. And in that sense, the trial has already begun.